Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to talk a little bit about vocabulary and definitions in geometry. So to begin with, geometry is what we call an axiomatic system. Another way to say that is geometry is a logic-based system. So that means that everything we do follows directly from what we did before. Axiomatic, basically what that means is rules. So in geometry, what we do is we lay out a couple basic foundational rules, and we have a couple terms that we start off with as well. And then from there, we add a little bit more. We use those things to create something new, and we keep building, so on and so forth. Now, one of the very important building blocks in that logic system are our definitions. So they give us pieces to work with. They give us things that we can use to discover other things. So on the screen, I laid out a couple things that make what makes a good definition. So a good definition is a valuable asset. Actually, as I said, they help us figure out more things in our system. A really good definition is generative. So we can use that and it'll lead us right to the next thing. And for a definition to be useful, it has to be precise and it has to be clear. So for a definition to be precise, it can't be vague, but it has to include all the necessary information. So it has to be exact. That's another way we can say that. And it has to be clear. So we don't want to use too many words, and we don't want to use confusing language, and we don't want to create something that ends up being circular in nature, creating some sort of paradox. We wouldn't want that. So to show you what I mean, let's take a look at two examples. And I want to take a look at a good definition and a bad definition. So first, a term that I think we're familiar with, a square. So a square, this would be a bad definition. So a square, maybe I could just say this is a four-sided shape. It's not wrong, but it's pretty vague. It leaves a lot up to interpretation. Actually, there could be a bunch of four-sided shapes. For example, a rectangle is a four-sided shape, or a rhombus. So this is a bad definition because there's counterexamples. There are other things that are four-sided, but they are not squares. So instead, a good definition, maybe we could say something like a square is a parallelogram with four congruent sides and four right angles. So that includes everything we need to describe a square. A parallelogram is a special type of quadrilateral, something we will talk about. And then it also includes everything that makes a square a square. Four congruent sides, all four sides are the same length, and four right angles. Okay? So hopefully that difference makes sense there. Let's try one more to talk about the difference between good and bad again. So diameter. So the diameter in a circle, can kind of visualize what that would look like. But a bad definition would just be to say maybe a diameter is line that goes through a circle. Yeah, this is very vague. And in fact, it's more than vague, it's incorrect. A diameter is not a line. It does not continue forever. And actually it goes through a very specific part of the circle. So these are things that we need to include in our definition. So an example, a good definition for a diameter, maybe I would say a diameter is a segment, right? It's not a line, it does stop. Segment whose endpoints are on the circle and the other piece that's important is we know the diameter has to go through the center. So a diameter is a segment whose endpoints are on the circle, and a segment and that passes through the center. So again, I'm including everything we need to know about that diameter. We're being specific, but we are also not including things that we don't have to. So hopefully the difference between a good definition and a bad definition, as I showed here, hopefully those make sense. And hopefully this leads you to be able to write some definitions of your own. Thanks.